SAP HANA software and hardware requirements here. So software and hardware requirements we will discuss today. So what are the softwares we required? What are the hardware requirements for the HANA database? Right? So these things we have to discuss today. So yesterday we discussed about so first of all, what is HANA? And what is the language, what is the environment, so who developed HANA, what is the year, what are the versions of the HANA database, what is the latest versions, and what is the initial versions here, what is the successor of the 2.0, then why HANA, why it is so important. These and all the some useful information we discussed yesterday, right? So today we will discuss about the hardware requirements, HANA hardware requirements here, HANA hardware requirements. So based upon the specific implementation. So SAP HANA, so the hardware requirements here. What are the hardware and so these things we'll discuss today now. Okay. So where is that? This is the one. So hardware requirements vary based on the specific implementation, but generally, so including the sufficient RAM, and so the main thing is the sufficient RAM and sufficient storage means file system requirement here, file system requirement, right? And also you have the sufficient storage means disk requirement, and also CPU requirements also should be required, right? Sufficient RAM for some versions and recommended to be so 64-bit 64 GB for the some more hardware implementation, minimum 64 GB or 128 GB here, right? So that is the HANA. So generally how can I calculate the HANA hardware means we need to calculate the memory requirements here, how much RAM size is required. So it is a greenfield installation. Greenfield means the fresh installation here. What we can take it out here, fresh installation, then we can we can take the SAP quick sizer tool. SAP quick sizer tool we can use for the calculation of the so RAM size here. RAM size is the main here. RAM size is the main important thing here. So based upon the quick sizer tool, we can calculate the how much RAM we will get it out. In case this is for the greenfield means fresh installation, you are doing the fresh installation, there is no data, so then we can calculate it based upon the users, based upon the functional data flow and everything. We can calculate the how much data flow. Maybe if you open the quick sizer tool, SAP quick sizer tool, there is a web based tool, quick sizer tool. So using this tool, quick sizer tool, using this quick sizer tool here, we can calculate the sizing means how much means hardware requirements such as like memory, CPU, so power, CPU, and disk space means storage, and network bandwidth, how much is required here, right? So here HANA sizing we can do it in the like user based sizing, how many users will work on the systems, like, and also the throughput based, what is the data which is inserting into the DB level, we can use it here. Go to the quick sizer tool, then HANA based quick sizer tool, we can utilize it here. Then we can calculate the so what is the size uses for the HANA databases based upon the application, and then we can calculate the HANA quick sizer tool, we can use it here. This way we can calculate the so how much RAM size we required, how much RAM size we required for this one we can calculate it here. Okay, that is the main thing of the HANA quick sizer tool. Okay, so otherwise it is the brownfield means what, sir? What is this greenfield and brownfield? Greenfield means fresh installation, new system build. Brownfield means it's already you have other databases like Oracle, SQL, some other databases you are using. but you want to migrate to the HANA database. That time, how can you calculate the sizing? That time we can use the, so it's already data is there. Then you will come to know using the, you can use the report in the SAP ABAP level. You can use the report slash HDF and sizing report. You can use it, or you can use the DB scripts. You will get it out the DB scripts. Then you will come to know the what is the current DB size. Based on that, you can calculate the RAM size for this one here. Based on that, you can calculate the RAM size here. If you go to the SA38 in the SAP level, so then you can calculate the slash HDF slash HDB underscore sizing. Then you will calculate the how much RAM you required, how much RAM is required. You will get the sizing here. Suppose this is running on the different system. Then so you want to calculate the, suppose like let's take the ECC system. This is running on the SQL. Okay. So now I want to calculate the, go to the SA38, then you can just go to the slash HDF slash HDB underscore the sizing report, then sizing for here, then you will calculate the based upon the, if you put the star star, all the tables will be calculated. If you calculate the only few tables here, so like repo SRC, suppose example one table here, then this will calculate the how much size is required for this one. So based upon the table size, based upon the all, based upon the what, so you can calculate the sizing. Basically using the report, we can calculate the how much sizing is required. That we can get it out from the SAP here. That's we can do it from here. Okay, that report will tell you. Right, so you can put the table name, or if you don't mention the table name, it will, so it will pull the all the data. So then it will tell you like, so sizing, HANA sizing in GB. So here you require the 53 GB, 53 GB you required for the target HANA database. So total 54 GB, right? The fixed code, work data, raw data. So then sizing, all the things you can see how much, what is the source database and what is the tables, and also you can see the all the information, how many records are there. So you can see the all the calculation. So in case of brownfield based upon the report, you can calculate the how much CPUs are, sorry, how much memory is required. The main thing for HANA, RAM memory calculation is very important. Why? Because HANA is a in-memory column-oriented columnar database. It has only in-memory level, it will store the data instead of disk. Right? Suppose if you think, if say in a best example, human body. In a human body, stomach is like a storage, our file systems. Then head is like a in memory in his mind is a in memory. So it will, everything will store into the in memory level, mind level, instead of storing into the disk level here. Right, just for example, it's not related, just giving the small example like this. So if you relate your concepts to the outside of the topic, if you relate concept to the outside of the topic in your real life, you can easily remember the things, here. So already existing database, we know how to calculate it. Why? Because existing database means we know the size of the existing databases sizes, either reports or the scripts, we can use it. The same way we can maintain the RAM size. But only problem is the fresh installation. Fresh installation means either you can use the quick sizer tool, SAP quick sizer tool. The SAP provided this tool to the customers to calculate the sizing. Right, otherwise some customers, they will use the t-shirt sizing method. So what is this t-shirt sizing method? T-shirt sizing method here, sir. T-shirt sizing means when you go to the shopping mall, we know small, large, small, medium, large, so extra large like this. Then what about this one here? Yes, here also small. The medium small size companies, minimum they require the 128 GB. HANA minimum 128 GB memory is required. So medium size company means 256 GB. Large companies means 512 GB. Extra large means 1 terabyte of RAM size is required here. Sir, is it like a t-shirt sizing method? Yes, Why? Because that's why anywhere if you ask someone what is the minimum requirement for the HANA database sizing, means 128 GB sizing is required. For the real time when you are using for the customer, minimum 128 GB RAM size is required. Okay, so this way we can check based upon the company size. Some people they will calculate their company size based upon the number 0 to 499 is like a small company, 500 to 1000 it's like a medium size company, like that, right? Similarly, we can calculate like this here, right? Based upon, so basically the aim is like a how to calculate the RAM size. Based upon these ways we can calculate it. Okay, so our RAM size we got it somehow, otherwise we will get the RAM size from the customer, or we will get the from architects. They will provide you the on-site architects, or they will provide the RAM size, this much of RAM we can take it for the non-production, something like that here. So in that case here, in the based upon the RAM size, in that case here, so RAM size we got it. Then how can I calculate the CPUs here? How can I calculate the CPUs? Next priority item is the CPUs here. CPU calculation based upon the RAM size only. Then storage calculation based upon the RAM size. CPU calculation based upon the RAM. Why? Because in CPU, suppose if it is the on-premises CPU, we will call it as the PCPU, physical CPU. Physical on-premises means our physically it is available, right? It is the cloud level. It is a vCPU concept, virtual CPU concept here. When you are working on the AWS cloud or Azure, GCP, and heck, so there is some CPU template, CPU families to get the instances, create the instances. That time, if you choose the memory, the CPUs will be calculated based upon. Why? Because the CPUs based upon the main memory based upon the CPUs here. In case of physical memory, one physical memory will handle the 14 to 16 GB of main memory. So maybe if you take the brand new CPUs from the Azure, Microsoft, so that will be, they will they sometimes more one CPU will handle the more RAM size also, brand new CPUs if you use it. So, but average one physical CPU will handle the 7 GB of memory, and virtual CPU 7 GB of memory. It's half by two. So, which means two virtual CPUs equals to the one physical CPU. One physical CPU will 14 GB, one virtual. In that case, if you have the 128 GB RAM, then how many CPUs you required? 128 by 14. Then how many it will come? Either 7 or 8 or 9. So then that many CPUs you required, here by calculations. Virtual CPU means by double, then you will get the virtual CPU concept here, right? So this way we can calculate the CPU. Means, so one CPU will handle the 14 to 16 GB of main. So then based on that, your calculations will come. Based on that, your calculations will come like this here, right? So that is the main thing here, right? So then when it goes to the storage, disk size requirement, disk file system also very important for HANA database. Why? Because HANA will store the data in memory level only, but in memory is like a volatile memory, temporary memory only. Something is happens, some corruption is happened here, all the data will get deleted from the database, the memory level. Then how the everything is getting deleted from the RAM level. So then how we can continue in this? How can we trust then HANA? So one copy of data storing into the disk level also here. So, but how can I calculate the disk sizing requirement? Right? So here HANA disk size means the mandatory for the HANA databases, you need the root file systems, then USR SAP file systems, slash HANA data file systems, then slash HANA log file systems, then slash HANA shared file systems. So what is this? All those things means file systems. Linux level. Why? Because HANA can be installed only on the Linux operating system only. Why? Because we require the terabytes, petabytes of data. Then in that case, that much of RAM will not sufficient. Then we need to use the Linux operating systems. Windows it won't support, right? So then you need the some Linux level language, Linux level knowledge as well here. So we need to use this one as well. So Linux level means it's a file system concept. In the Windows level, how we have the C drive, D drive, E drive, F drive, how we have. So in the Linux also we have the file systems like root file system, USR SAP file system. So D drive like that we have the file systems here. We have to have a these file systems. The file system naming convention should be like this, and this should be have the separate mount points, separate drives, not the folders in the each and everything, right? So that is the separate mount points to avoid the IO issues, input output issues. So each and every file system should be in the separate mount point here, separate mount point here, each and every file system here. That is the main thing here. Okay, so sir, then how the space file systems we got it, how much space recommendation from SAP for the HANA database? Why? Because this is the one of the important question they may ask you sometimes. So what is the file system recommendations from SAP for HANA? Then these are the five file systems. Then what is the space recommendations from SAP? These are the space recommendations, right? Minimum 10 GB free, so minimum 50 GB free, and so 3 into RAM size, 3 into RAM size should be free. Then log should be off by 2 of RAM size. The RAM size is there, how much, that is the off by 2 of the RAM size here, or max 512 GB is required. Then slash and a shade you require the 1 into RAM size. So these are the file system recommendations. Along with this one, we required some operating system level mandatory file systems like, so slash home, slash temp, then slash var, then slash log, then slash swap. So these are the some mandatory file systems. This should be required the 2 GB, 5 GB, 10 GB, that is fine. But this is mandatory for the HANA databases we have to maintain as part of this requirement here, right? So everything is based upon the RAM size. Everything, all the calculations based upon the RAM size here. So in case if you have the RAM size like a, so 100 GB, if in case of your RAM size like a 100 GB here, then 10 GB, 50 GB is common, then 300 GB, then 50 GB, then 100 GB, 100, 400, 450, 500, 510. So total 510 plus this one you can take like 40, 550. Total 550 GB storage is required for 550 GB storage you required for. So for as a disk space requirement 550 GB. This 550 GB we need to split like 10 GB this one, 10 GB USR SAP, 3 into RAM size 300 GB for this one, then 50 GB this one, and also 100 GB this one. So then remaining 40 GB we can give it for the slash var temp remaining file systems we can give it. So like this we need to split the entire storage to the respective file systems. So everything, CPUs also based upon the RAM size only, disk also based upon the RAM size only, then RAM size only will based upon we are deriving the remaining things based upon the RAM size, right? That is the main thing. So and also HANA can be installed only on the Linux operating system only on Linux OS only. Linux OS means either SUSE Linux flavors, or Red Hat Linux, Red Hat RHCL, Red Hat Linux Enterprise Edition. Okay, so this is the Red Hat Linux here. So see, or Red RHCL here, right? Only these two flavors we need to install the HANA database. So and also it should be the 64-bit operating systems and 64-bit address space, and that is the one. and either SUSE or Red Hat Linux, we have to install it. So coming to the SUSE Linux version, SLES version, so 15 SP06 is the latest version. We have the 05 also there, 04 also there, 03 also there, 02 also there, 01 also there. But always when you're installing the latest version of the HANA database, always we need to install the latest version of the operating systems. Latest version of the HANA database, always we have to do the latest version of the HANA database. That is the main important thing here, right? So SUSE Linux version, right? So Red Hat Linux version also like a RHL, it's a 9 series, 9.8 or 9.9 series, and the 8 series is available, Red Hat Linux. So if you are installing either SUSE Linux or Red Hat Linux, so one of the latest version should be found. One of the latest version should be required. That SUSE Linux or so Red Hat Linux, the latest version should be required here. That is the main important thing here. SUSE or Red Hat Linux here. Okay, the versions wise, this is the latest version. Sometimes you may be asked like, so what is the version of the SUSE Linux version? Then you should know about this thing, right? So then what is the version of the Red Hat Linux? Then you should know about this thing, right? That is the main important thing here. So SUSE Linux and Red Hat Linux here, right? So here the versions information, right? Maybe if you Google it also, it's not a showstopper. If you Google it also, you will get the Linux version. You don't need to remember all. So if you go to the Linux also, you will get the latest versions. If you Google it, you will get the latest versions here. Maybe you can just type like SLES versions. So we have the 15 that is outdated. 15 is they have mentioned, but there is no latest versions in 15. 16 SLES 16 version. Everything they will update it. Okay, 16. So see Linux 16 SP06 is the latest actually. That is the latest version. Yeah, if you go to the wiki, we will come to know all the information here, right? So 15, 10 months back. It's not updated. They have not updated this version's latest release. But the version now latest is the 16 SP06 is the latest. That is the one. Okay, this is the 19 series. Sir, can I get from SAP side any note like where can I get the latest versions? And yes. So if you want to install this HANA database, what is the operating system it should support? You will get the clear picture in this release notes. I will show you that one as well here, right? And also HANA, we have to install, can be installed only on the certified hardware vendors only. Certified hardware vendors means HANA should be certified those things. Like either HANA should be certified. So normally people will use the Intel based hardware platforms. They will use it here as well, CPUs and Intel based hardware Linux, and they will use for the Intel based or IBM power machines. They will use it here. So they will use the Intel based and the certified hardware vendors. So if you see if you want to know the certified hardware vendors means here HANA certified, then hardware vendors like, so then you will come to know the all the information here on our certified hardware vendors, which means hardware vendors means like HP, Dell, Intel, so Fujitsu. So these all are the certified hardware vendors. These all are the certified hardware vendors. So when you are installing the HANA database, either any one of the hardware vendor, it should be certified by SAP. Only those hardware platforms only you need to install it here, right? Hardware vendors only you need to install it. These are the hardware vendors here. If you see here, vendors, so Cisco, Alibaba Cloud, EMC, Google Cloud Platforms, and Fujitsu, DataSphere, DataCore, and Dell, Atas, Hitachi, Lenovo, and they are the NetApp, VC, Unisys, so NEC, so they are the hardware vendors. These all are the hardware vendors you need to install it here, right? So either you can use the deployment option like either on premises or cloud also you can install it here. Means HANA can be deployed in the on-prem, your own physical machines, as well as the deployment type. If we talk about the deployment type, we can install on the on-prem. Also we can install the HANA on the on cloud also we can install it here, right? So it means cloud also it supports, and on premises also we can install it here. So these are the hardware vendors. So the maximum CPU or maximum CPUs all are the Intel CPUs only we have to use it. Intel Haswell CPUs are the latest one, you can use it. Intel CPUs, normally we don't require this much of information, but I'm giving here so for our knowledge purpose. Then up to 32 TB terabytes of RAM size. See here, up to 32 TB hardwares, terabytes of hardwares we can prepare, we can use it here for HANA database. That should be scale out here, right? 32 TB. Who will providing the 32 TB, sir? 32 TB means it's not the GB, TB, terabytes of RAM. It's not the storage also here. Who are providing here, right? So here AWS, Atas, IBM Cloud, and Hitachi, they are the hardware vendors. They are providing HP. They are providing that much of hardware like a RAM size. They are providing. They have the RAM size that much of. We can order it. Okay, you can order it those things here. These are the certified hardware vendor directory. So which means to install the HANA database, see how carefully we need to perform the hardware requirement like CPU, memory, like operating systems, space recommendations, file systems, network like, so 1 gigabyte per second. Network bandwidth should be 1 Gbps per second, 1 gigabyte per second, or some good network bandwidth. We can say like good network bandwidth is required to install the HANA, to operate the HANA database here, right? So that is the supported hardware platform, supported operating systems, hardware requirements, and also we have the hardware, so hardware platforms, and also list of softwares. What are the list of softwares we required? List of softwares here, right? Hardware requirement, we got it, all those things here. What about the software requirement here? Software requirement side, like we require the, so SAP HANA DB is required. We are installing the HANA database, definitely DB software is required. That is mandatory, right? Then SAP HANA client is required. Then SAP HANA add-ons and plugins. These are the optionals. So mandatory DB client are required. So optionally you require the add-ons and plugins. Add-ons and plugins are the additional functionalities in the system. Add-ons and plugins are the additional functionalities. So means additional extra functionalities. So that's the main thing here. So this extra functionalities will give you the additional. Suppose I like example, you purchased the one of the operating system, one of the laptop you purchased. Then if you want to use the music audio, then you need to install the audio drivers. Means that is the one of the add-on, right, on top of the operating systems, right? If you want to connect to the, like if you want to attend the meeting, you need to install the Teams. That is also one of the plugin, right, on top of the operating systems, right? On top of the DB, if you need any additional functionalities, these are the things you need to use it. But mandatory operating system, which means DB is required. So where can I download all the DB softwares and everything? Means it's a kind of a me.sap.com. You require the S user ID. SAP user ID here as 00, the number will start. Using the certified, so like we had to log into the me.sap.com, means SAP marketplace, S user ID. There we need to install the, there we have to install the, we need to download the softwares first of all. Right. So suppose example, if you see here, so me.sap.com, me.sap.com here. Here you can log into the me.sap.com. So you can enter the S user ID and password. Then you can go to the me.sap, you can go to the software download center that is available in the systems provisioning here. Or so if you go to the systems provisioning here, here software download center here, software download center here. So then here installations, otherwise directly me.sap.com software center, directly it will open it instead of going to the home page and again coming to the system directly. If you remember this URL, so software download center, go to the support packs and packages or installations and everything. So then go to the by alphabetical index. As you know, SAP softwares also will be on the same by alphabetical order wise they have arranged it here. Then you can go for H for HANA, G for gateway, S for S4 HANA, like this. Here you can go for the H for HANA software here. Then here just to go for the HANA platform edition. So SAP they have released. So what is this platform edition means? SAP they have released 3 editions into the market here. When they have released the SAP HANA product versions, there are the 3 editions here. One is the SAP so platform edition. Second one is the SAP HANA Enterprise Edition. The third one is like a SAP Extended Enterprise Edition. They are the 3 editions SAP released. But so based upon the licensing model, licensing you will get the related. But each and every licensing model, the basic thing is the HANA DB software, HANA DB client, and some other add-ons and plugins will be available. So any edition is fine. We can select it here based upon the customer license. So it's a 2.0, the latest version. Then download the latest version of the HANA DB database or client or plugins or anything. This APL, these all are the plugins. HANA DB software, client. Then HANA database 2.0. This is the one. Then you can select the, just click on the SAR file. IMDB server means HANA database server. If you click on this file, the database will be downloaded. This is released in the week back. They have changed the version, right? So this can download the HANA SPHS 08 or 07 or 05 or so whatever the versions you want to download, you can download the version. Just click on this hyperlink, then the file will be downloaded. See, the file is getting downloaded here, right? See, the file is getting downloaded here, right? So this file we had like this, we need to
Sir,
download.
how do we know the enterprise edition? Like how we have to choose?
That is, customer will tell you, the customer will choose it during the licensing modeling time, not you. So customer will choose it based during the agreement of the SAP with the customer. So they have the agreement, they will give you the 3 editions here. Each edition there is a different so pricing. So based upon that pricing, SAP will like customer will choose the that platform, that is edition. You can choose it here. How you can you know means, so if you go here SAP systems, then if for you it is only showing the platform edition, means your customer is licensed with the platform edition only. Either platform, either enterprise edition only they are licensed. It is the enterprise, then you will see the enterprise edition. Okay, so based upon this this folder is there, then your customer is the platform edition. If this folder is not there, if your folder is enterprise edition is there, your customer is the enterprise edition. What is the difference? Means pricing is the difference here. So if you check the small mobile pack here, 128 rupees and 130 rupees, there is a pricing difference, and also there is a futures also there is a difference, right? Similarly here also there is a pricing difference here. That pricing difference, so SAP will not expose in the public sectors what is the how many euros, how many, so for this pricing, and because that is only, that is the confidential, that is specific to the customers only. Okay, that is the editions.
like we have the like in the company more than 35 users are there. So like in this case, like and we required more features in HANA. So as per your knowledge, like the real time, what we can go for that one, like which
What
addition,
more futures means? What exactly means
like
futures means?
customize more customization.
No, customization is in SAP level, not the HANA level. Okay, what the more futures means? So I will tell you the difference here. Okay, I will tell you the difference about the each and everything here. So let me remove this one. So don't require this one, but that's fine. Only thing is we need to concentrate on the that uh, so hardwares, softwares, and file systems and those things. So, but this is also important if you are in the good position. So these things also very important. So, but here, what is okay? HANA platform edition, enterprise edition, price ZE. Then one more edition is called the extended enterprise edition, EEE. So extended enterprise edition here. So normally every edition you will get the DB software and client, studio, and cockpit. So plugins and add-ons you will by default package. So you will get the all these features. All these features means DB software you will see, client, studio, cockpit, plugins, add-ons, all the features you will see here, and that you will see. Same features also available here in the enterprise edition also, but additionally you have the replication license also, ETL tools license also you will get it out. So extraction, transformation, load related, so things also you will get it out here, which means additionally you are getting the this license as well here. This license also you are getting here, right? So that is the one of the difference here, right? So this is the difference here. Suppose if you go to the extended, if you go to the extended one, then additionally you will also get the ETL tools. Additionally means along with this DB client basic one, plus additionally ETL tools. ETL tools is the replication tools actually. The replication level functionality time. So you will get the data, normally we will call it as the data, one of the good word is called the data provisioning tools, data provisioning techniques. You will get it out here in the this one in the enterprise edition, right? So suppose additional, so the customer having a requirement like he need, so the ETL tools as well as the full-fledged pack, means everything he need everything, which means there is a Sybase replication DB Sybase replication feature also he required. This is the costly feature he required, this replication feature also along with the ETL tools, replication feature and everything, then you can go with this feature. Sir, I don't have requirement of this future. Why I need unnecessarily I need to pay for amount to the SAP? I need basic. Basic is available. That's fine. Then why I need to choose the additional amount and additional money? Then I don't require. Sir, I have requirement. Then do I need to purchase this platform license as well as the data provisioning futures also? I need to means two licenses. I need to pay two amounts. Do I need to pay it? No. There is a one license is available here, enterprise, so that enterprise is available here. With that license you will get the ETL functionalities as well. So now based upon your requirement you can choose the whatever you choose it, you can choose the that related licenses, you can choose it. Okay, got it?
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, so now okay, that's fine today. And so the next one here we have the, so next thing is which we have to discuss like a, sir, HANA level we have the differences you have showed me like HANA 1.0 and HANA 2.0. So then why SAP introduced the 2.0? What is the major difference between the 1.0 and 2.0? What are the new functionalities in the 2.0? Then what is the their release strategy? Sir, Anna, we have to install, you said like Linux. Then do we need to learn the Linux commands? Yes. Few of the Linux commands you should be learned. So what are those Linux commands, or how to learn it out? Then so we have to discuss about the few Linux commands as well as the few Linux commands we need to discuss. So how to use that Linux and everything, few things we have to discuss here. So it means you need to get experience on the Linux side as well. So some basic commands that we will see it on the tomorrow. Okay, why? Because that will take time, Linux commands and the differences and everything. So then we'll start the HANA installation parts and everything. Okay, that's the thing. Then now it's